The way we consume and share news today, it is largely rooted in social media outlets, a reason why it's crucial to look at what's being discussed online. From the hottest issues to trends, for our daily social media minute, we're joined by Erica. Good morning.
Hello.
It feels like autumn.
Yeah. We
Suddenly.
talked, was it just yesterday about how chilly it's gotten? And then it's gotten even chillier this morning.
Yeah, it's confusing because just 2 days ago we were complaining about the humidity. We had ACs on
It
again.
was really hot over the weekend.
See, and this is kind of throwing us off a little bit off balance for our overseas listeners. If you're curious, 4 seasons when fall begins differs every year.
Yeah.
All right. Now, fall season means something exciting for baseball fans, it turns out. And this season might be extraordinary in that just maybe we may go mask free.
Yeah, we might. It's not official yet. But that's what everyone is saying, it seems, for now. And the experts are saying that, it looks like things are looking safe.
Okay.
And then the decision could be official very soon.
All right. So let's give the details of this story.
Yeah. So the number of daily confirmed cases has fallen to under 50,000 as of yesterday. The exact figure is 47,917, which is a significant drop from 200,000 last month.
It's 1/4.
Yeah, it's a question many people are asking. When are we going to be able to finally remove our masks altogether?
I mean, we included in the headline just a few days ago, we're in talks. Well, the government is in talks whether this is a good step forward.
Yeah.
Of course, there will be more conservative minds saying, no, we should probably have
You
it
know,
on.
I'm hearing this conversation everywhere.
Yeah.
Like on the streets yesterday, I heard a bunch of men behind me saying, I was just recently overseas. And, South Korea seems to be the only country in the world where we still have to wear masks indoors.
Did I tell you about my trip? Because I took an American airline flight to Chicago, and then to Korea, I took a Korean airline.
Yeah.
And the second I got on this American airline, they told me you can have your face mask off, even though we're still technically on Korean grounds. But when I'm flying back from Chicago to Korea, even though I'm still technically in the U.S., they told me I had to put the mask on. The rules are confusing. And frankly speaking, I don't know what it does when we travel more and more.
Yeah.
And there are these different restrictions depending on where we are.
That's right.
And most importantly, daily infection numbers are down, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So it may be a little soon for altogether, meaning indoors and outdoors, but mask mandates for outdoor gatherings or events with 50 or more people will very likely be lifted within this month at the earliest. This means people will soon be able to attend outdoor concerts or sports events, soccer, baseball, without having to wear their masks. Now, on Monday, the disease control authorities announced that the government is working on lifting the mask mandates for events and gatherings of more than 49 people following the slowdown of COVID-19 here in South Korea.
I have a pretty big event coming up in October. I need this to go away before that.
That would be fantastic.
Just for that. Not ready to share with the listeners that eventually I'll get there. All right. It takes a little bit of courage. Will these mandates be eased before the baseball postseason kickoff then?
Most likely.
Okay.
Authorities say it will likely be eased by mid-October at the latest. So that's not far off.
Okay. Fingers crossed. So the government lifted the indoor mask mandates in early May, but people have been required to wear masks when attending gatherings of 50 or more. Outdoor masks, right?
That's right. Now, one government official said it might take some time, more time to lift indoor mask mandates. But the current circumstances, I mentioned the figures, it's under 50,000, are deemed safe by health authorities, safe enough to allow gatherings of people without masks.
See, safe enough is such a tricky set of words.
Yeah, totally.
Depending on who you ask, they might have a different review.
Yes.
Now, the government recently began a review on dropping COVID-19 test requirements for inbound travelers upon arrival.
That's right. The authorities lifted the pre-arrival PCR test mandate this month, but it kept the mandatory PCR test within 24 hours after arrival. But there has been a steady stream of, requests. People have been calling for the removal
of
the removal of
post-arrival tests.
Exactly. post-arrival test requirements. Well, number one, to attract more foreign tourists to the country. I mean, the tourism industry has been suffering a lot, to say the least.
So they need a little break, belatedly, but I mean, now better than later, I suppose.
Yeah.
And these tests are increasingly expensive.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yep.
They're all considering it. We'll let you know. You'll be the first one to know when they lift the mandates.
That's right.
All right. Our second buzzword of the day. So this has been a contentious one. We've talked briefly about it on the program. Now, Busan's efforts to promote English as a common language rolls on despite protests. We saw this coming because they budgeted for it.
Yep.
They created a department for it. So it's not as if they're going to say, forget this bureaucratic process. The people don't like it.
Exactly.
That's not how it works, unfortunately.
You know, the craze over English and to speak it well. It's been one of the ultimate goals of
South
education.
Koreans?
Yeah, here in Korea for decades. Now, over the years, different municipalities, regional governments have introduced a broad range of measures to make English education more accessible and enjoyable to the public. One such example was, if you remember, the introduction of English villages.
It puzzled me then. It puzzles me now.
Yeah, these villages were essentially theme parks.
Yeah.
You know, with educational purposes. Visitors could come, meet native English speakers in person, and practice basic conversational skills.
Okay.
Yeah, however, their popularity declined about a decade ago, and many of them are now non-existent.
Okay, so maybe it wasn't supposed to be everlasting, but the objective a decade ago was to make English learning a little bit more fun.
That's right. And they were popular, especially the one in Paju.
Yes, it was. I went there with my EBS team, and it was a spot to be seen. It was a spot to shoot.
Yep.
It's been 10 years, and apparently it's been shut down.
Yeah, it has. Well, it seems that Busan is now turning a new page. The city government is following Mayor Park Hyung-jun's re-election pledge back in June. And it's pushing forward with making English the city's new common language.
We're going to put common language in quotes because that could be potentially misleading, right? It doesn't mean they want to strike out Korean as the official language, not even close. They just want English maybe a little bit higher up on the spectrum so more people can speak it.
Yep.
Now, the problem is that there has been a growing number of protests against a move. As you can imagine, those who want to protect the Korean language might not agree.
There are concerns about that. Critics are raising concerns that if the city promotes increased English usage, it may interfere with the preservation and promotion of the Korean language. And already so many people are worried. We're using so many English words.
And signs.
Every day.
Promotions.
Yeah.
English not necessarily used in the best way, but it's used everywhere, right?
Yes, but like you said, Busan is standing by its decision. And for now, it will continue to advocate for the use of English.
Maybe it can coexist. Maybe there's a
I think so.
place for discussions so that it does address the concerns of those who want to protect and promote the Korean language.
Yep.
Now, what exactly do the policymakers have in mind when they say, though, common language?
Yes, so that seems to be what many people are confused about. To ease some of that confusion, the city government has rolled out an FAQ sheet that answers some of the questions the public may have about this initiative. First of all, common language does not mean official language, nor does it mean primary language. Busan City says Korean is always going to remain the most essential language, while English is going to serve as the supplementary language to help people in very specific circumstances where English can be helpful.
Okay, it does sound like Busan is trying to stress that its latest education initiative, know that that's the purpose, will not be another Paju English village though, right?
That's exactly what it's doing. The initiative will be limited to public institutions and places that need English for official purposes, as well as those interested in learning English.
Okay, so the fiery part of the conversation is steaming down.
Yeah.
Let's have a more adult conversation going forward. Maybe this can, because I would hate to see budgets be wasted on a project that had a good intention.
Right.
Perhaps it can coexist.
Yes.
It is taxpayers' money after all.
It is.
On to our last buzzword now. Freeze just ended.
Yeah.
No, there is no segue there. Brad Pitt, apparently, when you've crossed off just about everything on your list, from being one of the most celebrated actors in the world to nabbing a lot of important awards to divorce, that's high profile just as much as he is. He wants to take on the art world.
Yeah, so he's added another career description to his name. He is now actor / film producer / sculptor.
Sculptor?
Yeah.
Okay.
He recently unveiled his sculptures in a lakeside art museum in Finland.
Before we reveal the details, I didn't mean to come off so judgmental, but that is kind of a consensus, is it not, from the general public when an actor or a singer with such prestige takes their popularity and leverages into, creating an entire new career for themselves.
Yep.
Okay, now we're going to talk about the details of the sculpture as we stream the images.
So, Sarah Hilden Art Museum is located in Finland's third largest city of Tampere, and it's the first time he's largely self-taught, and it's the first time he has presented his sculptures to the public, and that must be a scary thing.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, it must be really intimidating, you know? Yeah. Anyways, his sculptures were revealed by Pitt himself over the weekend, and it was part of a larger exhibition by British artist Thomas Husiago alongside a ceramic series by Australian musician Nick Cave. And Pitt told a Finnish broadcast that for him and Cave, this is a new world, and it's their first entry, and he says it feels right.
Okay, because some of our listeners that might not have a visual are wondering, what do these pieces look like? What are they exactly? They're sculptures for those of you who are just tuning in. Let's talk about some of the noteworthy pieces on display.
Well, his 9 works include a molded plaster panel depicting a gunfight and a series of house-shaped silicone sculptures, and each has been shot with a different gauge of ammunition. And Pitt says that for him, his works are about self-reflection. I think besides the fact that he is debuting as an artist, a sculptor, the fact that he said that, this is all about, this is what he said, I'm going to quote him directly.
Sure.
For me, it was born out of ownership of what I call a radical inventory of self, getting really brutally honest with me and taking account of those I may have hurt, moments I may have just gotten wrong.
Okay, so this is a pretty steep internal process. Maybe don't judge before you see it for yourself.
Yeah, it's about where he has gotten it wrong in his relationships.
And he's pretty open about the internal process, which I think is a pretty intimate one, but his personal lives has always been aired out in tabloids. And so I think he's addressing some of those misturns or perhaps even concerns from the public.
There's been a lot of he said, she said these recent years between Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
They're just such a stark... Yeah. I mean, it's on their own, they were such massive stars.
Yeah. And for those of you who are curious, he's a busy actor. Where does he get the time to sculpt?
Yes.
Well, he reportedly began trying sculpting. He started after he divorced from Angelina Jolie.
Okay.
Yeah.
So artists, I mean, they're just human like us. Yep. There's always people who will take apart new artists, and that's to your own discretion. But there you go. Brad Pitt is also now a sculptor.
That's right.
Busy man.
Indeed.
But if you look at any of your actor friends, they do have a lot of downtime, don't they? And
they
when
do.
They do. This might be a healthier outlet.
He spent 15 hours in a studio in Los Angeles.
15
when
hours?
he first started. So there's a lot of time for self-reflection.
My internal process is ice cream and venting.
Same. Me whining and dining.
See you tomorrow, Erica.
Bye.
If you're listening to our program using the podcast service, just a reminder that we do go live Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Korea Standard Time. So tune in and help us make the show more informative by giving us your input. See you bright and early on Good Morning Seoul.